So, we all know Jeremy Clarkson, right? The world's most famous car journalist. He's loud, he's got opinions on everything, and he's usually found going sideways in a supercar. But what happens when you take that guy and drop him onto a 1,000-acre farm in the middle of nowhere? Well, for 1 year, he actually tried to find out. And this quote, it just sets the stage perfectly. For a guy famous for his massive ego, this is surprisingly honest. He's basically admitting right from the start, I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. He knows he's completely unqualified for this job. And that right there is what makes the whole thing so fascinating. But, I mean, come on. Did that stop him? Of course not. This is Jeremy Clarkson we're talking about. So he dove in headfirst, powered by that classic Clarkson mix of blind optimism and just a little bit of arrogance. So what happened next was, well, a year of total chaos. We're talking hilarious mistakes, financial disaster, and weirdly enough, a little bit of actual wisdom. This is that story. All right, so let's get into it. Part 1, a know-nothing farmer. His whole journey starts with a level of confidence that really only someone who has never, ever farmed a day in their life could possibly have. I mean, listen to this. This was his actual thinking. He'd seen someone else farm his land for years and figured, how hard can it be? He boiled the entire incredibly complex profession of farming down to this one simple and, as it turns out, fatally wrong idea. And yeah, he could not have been more wrong. Almost from day one, it felt like the entire universe was lining up just to teach him a lesson. And that lesson was about to hit him like a ton of bricks, starting with his very first purchase. Okay, so what's the first thing you do as a farmer? You buy a tractor, right? And how does Jeremy Clarkson buy a tractor? Well, he does it exactly like he'd buy a car, ignores all the sensible advice, and goes straight for the biggest, most powerful, most ridiculous thing he can find. So he drops 40,000 pounds on a used Lamborghini tractor. Now, that sounds like a lot, and it is, but the price tag wasn't even the biggest problem. No, the biggest problem was its sheer unbelievable size. And this is where the dominoes start to fall. Problem number 1, the giant Lamborghini is too big to fit in his barn. So, what's the solution? Spend another 28 grand on a brand new barn? Makes sense. Oh, but it doesn't stop there. Not even close. It was also too wide to get through the gate onto his own farm. The solution? You guessed it, another 23,000 pounds for a new driveway. At this point, he's spent more money making room for the tractor than he spent on the tractor itself. And if you're wondering why it was such a disaster, here's the techie bit. It's all about something called torque. See, this thing had 775 torques. To put that in perspective, that's enough turning force to take a normal piece of farm equipment, hook it up to the back, and just instantly shred it into pieces. It was a monster. So now you've got this guy with this weapon of a machine that he absolutely cannot control. And the result? A trail of destruction. In just the first few months, he crashed into, well, just about everything. Gates, hedges, a telegraph pole, another tractor. He was a one-man demolition crew. Okay, so he's mastered crashing into things that don't move. What's next? Well, his next big enemy was pretty much the entire natural world, and let me tell you, nature was not a fan. I mean, you literally can't make this stuff up. The weather was just cruel. He starts with the wettest planting season on record. Then, when he finally gets vegetables in the ground, it becomes the driest May on record. And that was followed by the coldest July since 1988. It was just a relentless, non-stop barrage of bad luck. And then there were the animals. Oh, the animals. Specifically, the sheep. See, in Clarkson's mind, his sheep weren't just dumb animals. They were villains. Normal sheep just kind of hang out and eat grass. His were escape artists. They were saboteurs who would break their own water supply, apparently for fun. They were, in his own words, vindictive. So he can't drive the tractor, nature is actively trying to destroy him, but surely he can make some money, right? Well, that brings us to the brutal economics of it all. And there's a reason he named his farm Diddley Squat, because that's exactly what he was making. Let's take his first big business idea, potatoes. He actually did a great job growing them. 40 tons of them. Awesome, right? Wrong. See, 40 tons is too much to sell yourself, but it's not nearly enough for a big supermarket to buy. The result? 38 tons just sat in his barn and rotted. A complete disaster. But if you want a perfect picture of just how insane farm economics are, look no further than wool. It cost him £1.50 to get a single sheep sheared. And the value of the wool he got from that sheep? 30 pence. He was literally paying someone to lose money on every single animal. It's just wild. But, he did have one massive success. Honey. He got into bees, started selling honey in his new farm shop, and people went nuts for it. It was a huge hit. The problem? His entire stock, everything his 250,000 bees had worked on for weeks, sold out in less than 2 hours. Success, but also failure. So, after a year of financial ruin, constant struggle, and being humbled at every turn, you'd think he'd just give up. But this is where the story takes a really interesting turn. He actually discovered a completely different kind of profit. He found something that money just couldn't buy. This feeling of looking back at a field you just planted, of actually making food from your own land. It turns out that feeling was somehow more satisfying than the fast cars and TV career that made him famous in the first place. And really, that's what this whole chaotic, hilarious year boils down to. It leaves you with this one big question. In a job where you can lose money at every single turn and fight a losing battle against the weather, maybe the real profit isn't measured in money at all. Maybe it's something else entirely.